Finally, we get the sequel we deserve. Adopted 2. After last night, my manic episode where I was in full blown fucking hysterics talking about Adopted 1, I just had to jump on Adopted 2 this morning to see, is it possible that this improves upon anything in the first, or is it just as bad, or even worse, if possible? Let's talk about Adopted 2, a Tubi original from this year. And I'm going to tell you right now that they 100% are going to try to do a third. And I am so here for it. These are definitely the so bad it's good type films, but I was telling Kaylee earlier that I couldn't watch these all the time. Like, so bad it's good films from the 80s, I can watch those a lot, right? There's very few of these types of films. You have to be so spectacularly, abnormally bad now. But with sincerity, that's the thing. That's what most films today are lacking when it comes to like the so bad it's good. A lot of them are very self-aware, right? They're not like earnest in their attempt. This, for sure, is a legitimate attempt to try to make a good film. Now they're rushing it and doing it on the fly and being quick about it, but they are 100% being serious with these movies. And that's what makes it so fucking funny. So, yeah, guys, Adopted 2, I will be talking spoilers throughout this because I don't give a shit. This is not the type of movie that anyone needs a spoiler-free review on. Like, should I watch Adopted 2? Let me go to YouTube and ask, if I should watch this. And no. No. So, I was hit up not only in the comments being like, I can't wait to watch 2, but also people being like, I'm watching it now. I did, unfortunately, convince some people to watch this. I was getting text from a guy I know who made a film recently called Happy Birthday Maya, there it is. Primush. He was hitting me up while he was watching the first and laughing his ass off. We were having a good time joking about it. And yeah, I mean, he was saying he was comparing it to like a Neil Breen movie, or he was talking about how, it almost reminded him of like The Room. And while it's not The Room bad, it honestly isn't that far off. Because like, I showed some of this to Kaylee today. I showed her my review from last night when I was absolutely losing my fucking mind. Like, I legitimately felt like I was insane. Like, I could not stop laughing. I felt like I was hysterical. I really genuinely did. And I showed her some of this movie today, and we were talking about like the slickness of it, because I had mentioned in the other review it's like so slick that it's ugly. And she was like, she made a great point, which is perfect, is that it feels like a commercial. That's exactly what it is. It feels like the way it's shot is like a high production value commercial for Tide or whatever, right? And that is how it looks. That's how it feels. And another thing is that I noticed this in both this film and the previous film, is that I am almost positive that the director has access to some like housing agency, something where he's able to rent model homes, go in there and shoot, because these movies, they're probably filmed in a couple days. When he's making 7-8 pictures for Tubi every year, he's moving, man. In order to do that, you'd have to film these things in days, and it feels like these were filmed in days. Like he has very adequate equipment that he should be using to film fucking Downy commercials, but he's like, oh, I'm gonna make a movie out of this. And the houses in this, are staged like when you go into a model home, where everything's like very generic. Like the boys' room has the baseball bat and then the little sign that says like baseball on it. It's like that. The set dressings do not feel like lived in. They don't feel like anyone's home. Nobody's home looks like this. And everybody's house looks like this. Even if there was that one oddball who actually made their house look like that, everyone in this has a house that looks like that. No fucking way. So these are, I am convinced that these are model homes that he's talked like, hey, can we like pay you X amount of thousands of dollars to go film a film in here? You already have it all set up with a bed and everything. Like, we'll just film these scenes, because most of the scenes, they're just kind of like sitting on the bed. There's no real interaction with anything in the house. They'll like sit at a table and eat dinner on the table, but like there's nothing going on in the rest of the house where things have been moved and whatever. So it's very much like, they're not tampering with the set, which just further, proves to me that these are model houses, which is fine. I mean, I think that's a smart way to get like a really nice house for cheap and be like, look, we're not going to disturb anything that we screw with in the house, we will put back, and we'll give you $5,000 for a few days. And they're out, and they've just gotten this really nice house. All the furnishings in there. They don't have to pay a set designer. They don't have to pay a location scout. They don't have to pay any of that shit, right? So it's a quick way to film a film, make it look clean and like, posh, but like, not have to bring in all the extra frills of like extra costs of those people. And hi, Gruggies. Okay, so let's get into the movie. This movie is an hour and 40 minutes of absolute hilarity. Kaylee did get to catch some of this movie in passing, and she can attest to the A+ nature of this film.
A+.
Right, babe?
A+.
Yeah. Okay, so once again, there's this weird desire, and I get it. Like, the kid's supposed to be like evil incarnate, and he is kind of like the polar opposite. Like, the families that he gets involved with, they're like picturesque, right? They're perfect. They dress perfectly. Their house is perfectly immaculate. They talk to each other so perfectly. Nobody talks like this. None of the dialogue in either of these films is even remotely resembling human. Like, I was talking to Pretty Moosh about this, and he was saying the same thing I just said to my wife she was in the kitchen and I was here, and I was like, you know what this is like? This is like if AI or like robots kind of heard of humans and were trying to replicate what they think humans were like. And then Pretty Moosh hit me and he was like, this is like if aliens were trying to make a movie where they were like, this is how humans talk, this is how humans act. That's exactly how this feels. None of the dialogue in either of these films is natural in any way, shape, or form. The line delivery, the writing, all of it is absolutely hilarious. Like, I laughed so many times throughout this film, it has to be seen to be believed. And the fact that this was recommended to me, I do have to wonder, like, was this person being serious? Not to try to call them out to be a dick or anything. Did they think that this is the kind of film I would laugh at and have a good time with how bad it was? But I think, if I remember correctly, all it said was like, Adopted 2 is a good one on Tubi this year. No, there's no way anyone watched this movie and thought it was good. I refuse to believe that's possible. I'm not trying to be an elitist bitch. Like, I really am not. There's no way. Guys, do yourself a favor. Watch 5 minutes of this movie. Watch 5 minutes of it. That's all I'm asking. Either one of them. Doesn't matter. And tell me that you think there is a single person on this planet who would look at that and go, this is quality filmmaking. This is quality cinema. I need to go recommend this. So it has to be. It has to be either a joke, or it has to be, he's like, I think you would get like humor out of this. This is so bad. But there was no preface. There was no like warning, right? Like, oh, hey man, this one's pretty fucking funny bad. You should check it out. But I'll tell you, whatever, putting all of that aside, I am glad I watched these. These are so funny. And I'm going to have so much to talk about with these films for years to come. So, all right, let's talk about things in this film that I found to be absolutely hilarious. So, in the opening of this, we find out a few things. Number one, no bullets hit our main boy here. Dylan was completely unscathed. In fact, the cop in this, who was in the last film, talks about how he hesitated and he couldn't shoot at him. But they also said all the bullets missed him, but he did shoot the cop. So some of those gunshots that we heard were Dylan's, and those bullets hit the cops. But the cops, where there was like, 5 of them? Not one single one of them could hit him? And then what? He ran out of bullets, so then they like ran him down and tackled him to the ground? What did God put his hand down and stop those motherfucking bullets like in Pulp Fiction? Was it divine intervention? Is God watching over Dylan or something? Like, how did the cops turn into stormtroopers and miss every single shot? Maybe because they're trying to say like it's a child, he's innocent. But like, how many stories have you read where cops have gunned down children who were holding guns or holding fake guns? That's freaking I want to call him Carl Winslow from Family Matters. But Al, there you go. Al from Die Hard. That's his story. He had a ray gun, looked real enough, that kind of story. And yeah, he shot him to death because, this is what they do. They're gunslingers. Anyway, the fact they all missed and that was their explanation of like, I was like, he couldn't have just got hit by a couple. He couldn't have just been like hit here and hit. They always hit in the shoulder or whatever, and then he survives, right? But he missed every single shot. The kid was totally fine. So then we go to like 3 months later. This kid never ages, by the way. He never fucking ages. If you are watching both of these films, the kid has never aged. So I have to believe, I have to imagine that these were filmed kind of back to back, because the kid is 0% older than he was in the first film, but also in all of his flashbacks, we go back to his original family, which somehow the legal system in this world, in this universe, in the adopted universe, God, the worst universe you could ever live in, these people have no ability to check records of what happened to his family, even though he murdered both of them. Like, you would think that would be something that they could figure out, but for some reason they're able to just take in this kid multiple times into the foster or adoption system, and they're able to just adopt him out. And like, so yeah, he never ages. Like, they show him with his original family, this hilarious acting from this guy who's supposed to be like, the overbearing, crazy, abusive father. He actually has another scene in this, thank God, because he's just as bad in this. But he's the same age in that flashback, all the way to his original family. And then you see him with multiple other families and other flashbacks, and he's the same age every single time. Same actor, same age, same everything. It's craziness. It's craziness. Anyway. Then we go to the mental institution that he's been held in. It's been 6 months he murdered 3 people, right? In the first one, that they would know about, not his original family and not the family after. Somehow they don't seem to know about those families' deaths. He's getting into the system and killing the families, or the families around him are dying, right? Like, I guess the cop called, yeah, and he was like, oh, he's a good kid. I'm glad he got the family. And then he was like, but that kid totally killed his family. I guess they did know about that one, but because he said somebody murdered them, but he's done this with a few families, so you'd think they'd catch on at some point. But anyway, he's in this. 6 months passes. Once they realize that he murdered 3 people at least in this family, wouldn't they then by extension go, okay, those cases from before where that family died that had him before, pretty sure he did that, especially since the detective had a gut feeling he did it. You think that'd be reopened and he would be also prosecuted for these things. He's in this institution with these kids for 6 months, and the doctor's like, okay, well, I think you're pretty much better. I'm going to probably let you out of here, but I'm just going to have to make you wait 3 more months. This is totally the Terminator 2 Sarah Connor scene where she's wanting to see John, and he's like, oh, we'll reevaluate in like 12 more months or whatever, and she jumps across the table and freaks out on him. Very, very similar scene. It actually reminds me a lot of the opening of the Stepfather 2 or 3. I think it's 3. No, it's 2. Yeah, it's 2. When he breaks out, and same thing, a very, very similar conversation. He like puts on the facade, the act, to win over the psychiatrist, and he's like, okay, and then when he turns, he hits him over the head, and then he burns down the entire institution, murdering every single person inside. That's comical. Like, the fact that this kid is able to do the things that he does in this movie is great, because these are trying to be like, The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin, or Orphan, of course, is like one of the more comparable films to this one. Another thing that was going on with this movie, and I don't know if that's just because of like something wrong with Tubi, like when you pause it and come back, because there were so many times I had to pause and laugh and like talk to Kaylee and be like, dude, you have to fucking hear what just happened here. And then when I press play, it'd be in a dark scene, but like it would be darker than normal. But then the next scene would be in the day and it would be bright. So I think these are just like really dark shots. So this guy has no idea how to light dark scenes, I guess. I don't know. We also find out that the couple that adopted him, which we do see for a very brief time, they left the country and changed their identities and basically like went into witness protection for an 11-year-old kid who's in a mental institution. Like, no way the cops are doing that for you when the kid, a child, tried to kill you and is still in custody. Like, what? No, that's so funny. And we find out that the girl from the babysitter, survived, and we get a couple little scenes with them, but very, very few. A lot of CGI blood splatter in this, and then no blood otherwise. Like, the CGI blood will hit, like, so he'll shoot someone with a shotgun, and then they'll, like, lay on the ground, and there's no blood, like, pooling around them, which also further makes me believe that these sets were not allowed to dirty them. They weren't allowed to get, like, blood on the walls. They weren't allowed to put blood on the floor because it could stain. So they were just like, we'll add some CGI blood, and then even though they were just shot by a shotgun, there's not going to be blood on anything. There's not going to be blood pooling out of them or anything, even though they're dead, even though they have a gunshot wound through their stomach. Whatever, doesn't make any difference. So that just also adds to it. And then there's a scene where, and this was happening every time, where the wife would come to bed, and this is something Kaylee always likes to comment on, but in this is the worst example of it I've ever seen, where the mom will come to bed in a absolutely full face of makeup. I mean everything. Highlights, perfectly tracing under her eyebrows, and like lip gloss, the whole works. She looks like her hair is completely smooth and curled and styled, and she's like, oh, like getting in bed, like, oh, all right, night's over, time to go to sleep, honey, because this is how people talk to each other, like, oh, hey, son, hi, mom, what are you doing, son? Oh, nothing, mom. Okay, son. Like, what the fuck is this dialogue? What is this dialogue? But yeah, she just gets in bed with that like full face of makeup, and she's like, okay, it's time for bed. Fucking, like, what is this? I know they want to look as like pretty as possible, because that's what this is. Everyone in this is always like, camera ready at all times, and it's like, well, yeah, because it's in front of a camera. Yeah, but it's supposed to be real life, and everybody is made up at all times in this movie, in every single scene. And then I actually took notes because I had to with this one. So in this one, there is a family whose kid has a heart attack and dies, and then they adopt Dylan, who's now Taylor, and Taylor is, because he has to hide his name for some reason, he somehow gets into this adoption program. How the fuck he's able to do that, I have no idea. Because when they were to find a lost child, they would try to find, like, they would be looking around for, Amber Alerts. They would be contacting other police departments that also have kids that have that description that are missing. And this kid has, this kid's flyer would be up all around town. Like, I don't know how he got anywhere, but somehow he landed in another adoption agency, and they're like, oh, we don't really know much about him. Then you can't give him away. Like, he would have to go through a lot of rigorous, investigation of, like, who is this kid? Where did he come from? And they don't even bother. They don't even bother with that shit, because this movie is not concerned with any kind of real police work, with any real administration, like administrative work, nothing. They do not care. That is beneath this production. So yeah, they bring him in, and of course it's like, he does the same shit. It's the same movie. This kid's like sinister laugh and his fake smile and his fake persona. Like, I know he's trying to be fake, but also everyone around him acts exactly the same way. The forced delivery, the like completely fake dialogue from absolutely everyone, the pristine, like, shiny, glossy fucking framing and film throughout. It's just, it genuinely feels like AI. It feels fake. It feels like an imitation. That's what this feels like. It feels like a bad imitation of what something thinks humans would make. It really does have to be seen to believe. So, like, they for some reason take him to the exact place, the exact park that the kid that they had before fell down and eventually died from his heart attack. They then take Dylan Taylor to that exact same place to play the exact same game. No mention of it, no weirdness between the family. And these kids are hitting the ball directly in the line of sight of traffic that's driving by that's not 15 feet in front of them. They're hitting a ball at full swing, like, hit it. Like, don't worry about the lane, it doesn't matter. And it's going like 3 feet, and then they're running around the bases. And it's the fakest fucking thing. It's genuinely like something you would see in like a ad for some medication. That's what it looks like. It's kind of like that idyllic family setting where they're all playing baseball and it's all like the happy family and they're like laughing with each other. And the dialogue, oh my god, I can't with the dialogue. There's so many fucking funny exchanges, but they're all kind of exactly the same. It really is something you have to see to just believe it. I typically do not recommend you watching films like this. But this time, this is something where I genuinely think it's fucking funny as hell, and you might need to, you know, put yourself through it. So there is his like new brother in this. He has a box that he keeps his prized possession box, and he opens it up. It's a little lock box, and he opens it up, and this like, oh my god, I literally was like, this isn't real. This isn't real. So he opens it up. There's like a baseball. There's a bunch of loose baseball cards, completely loose. And there's things under the baseball card. So there's like, they're laying on top of it, loose, moving around in there. No protectors on them. No anything. He pulls out the baseball and he's like, this one was signed by, was it Jackie Robinson or something? It's like a really famous older baseball player. And the thing is in like mint perfect condition. And he just pulls it out and he's like, yeah, my dad's dad gave this to him and he gave it to me. And if I get a son, I'm going to give it to him. And then Taylor's like, what if you don't have a son? And he's like, well, I guess I'll just keep having to have kids until I get my son. Like, that is literally the lines and how it's delivered. And he pulls out the baseball, which has no protective case over it, has nothing. It's some heirloom to the family. It's in mint condition still somehow, just being thrown in like a lunchbox with a bunch of random baseball cards that are just scattered with no protector, like, covers on them at all. And then he's like, oh, what else do you have in here? And he's like, oh, I have some mint baseball cards. Some mint baseball cards. Now, for those of you who do not collect any kinds of anything, you have to know what I'm talking about at least. You have a very basic understanding of it, at least. Like, you have to keep things secured. You have to keep things guarded for them to remain mint, obviously. He has loose baseball cards. And some of the names that he throws out, he's like, yeah, these are like my prized possessions. Like, I don't want anything to happen to these, so I keep them in here. They're mint. He says, I forget what names he says, but one of the names he says is Babe Ruth. He supposedly has a Babe Ruth, and I'm assuming that we're talking about like a Babe Ruth rookie card. We're talking about like the card from the Sandlot. A card that would be worth tens of thousands of dollars, if not higher, hundreds of thousands of dollars. He says it's in mint condition, and he just has it in a lockbox with a bunch of other stuff, and the cards are loose rolling around in there. He's just opening it up, grabbing a baseball, the baseball that would be rolling around, and he's like, I'm going to pass this down to my kid. And it's like, here, son, here's some mint baseball cards. And the kid's like trying to fold them back and looking at the fucking like roughed corners and the bent pieces, and it's like a fucking matted wad of baseball. Thanks, Dad. I'm gonna go to college with these. They're in mint condition. Trying to like tape them back together. When I saw that fucking open like strew of baseball cards, just completely unprotected, and I was like, he's gonna say those are like prized, like those are like good cards, right? When he said Babe Ruth, that was it. That was the end of me. I was like, he has a fucking loose Babe Ruth baseball card in his box, and his parents are okay with that. That fucking card would probably be worth as much as their house. And they're just like, oh, just, here you go, son. Here, be so irresponsible. The fact that he was given any of those cards without the protectors, like, you have to understand. Like, my stepfather, when I was a kid, collected hockey cards. And he got like Sergei Fedorov and whatever, doesn't matter. He had a bunch of like their rookie cards, and he put them in like thick. Like when you see collectors of cards, sometimes they'll put them in like the real thin ones are for like kind of like basic cards. Then there's like the harder, like a little bit thicker ones, and those are for like pretty good cards. And then there's like the really, really rare old Bobby Orr type card, where you have to put it into something that's like this fucking thick from the side, and like it could stop a bullet. If you had a Babe Ruth card, that was like a prized possession from when he was like, that was passed down from his father's father. The fact that he was given it loose is not even remotely possible. It's not even the most irresponsible person. How would they still be in the kit? Because when you see the cards, you can see them up on top. They are like brand new. You can see like they probably just went down to the store, bought a few baseball cards, and threw them in there. You can't see what they are, but you can see how they look, and they are brand new. And they have, like, you can tell they were just placed in this box. The fact that they're just loose is, I'm sorry. I know this is a crazy thing to focus on, but it was so funny because it perfectly kind of like illustrates and encapsulates this entire film. Nothing makes any sense. Everything is pristine, but illogically. Anyway, that really got me. And then, so he attacks his Aunt Dee Dee, who says some really funny things to him, keeps threatening to whoop his ass and shit. And so he hits her, knocks her down the stairs, she goes in a coma. He tries to kill her once, but is unsuccessful. Then she wakes from her coma, and she immediately calls a detective. I guess they just passed her through to a detective. And I wonder if she called like the girl in the first one when she just literally the one with the prank where the kid's laying on the ground dead with the blood around him, and she's like, "What did you do? Oh my god, and she just literally picked up her phone. I rewatched the scene because I showed it to Kayla this morning. She literally just grabs her phone, just literally just picks it up and puts it to her head and goes, "Hello, 911." Like, these are so weird. It's so weird. No one on set, nobody is like, open your phone, pretend to dial something, and then go like, "Hello? Like, I have to report a ship." Nobody fucking just picks their phone. "Hello, is this hello, is this 911? Hello, 911? What was it? Hello, 911? Hello, 911? Yeah, just, hello, 911? What I told Kayla while we were watching that is like, that reminds me of like if you watch improv comedy. And they're like, "Oh, you got to pretend that this freaking measuring tape." I have a measuring tape next to me for some fucking weird reason. Don't get any ideas. But just kidding. They're like, "This is a phone," and you're like, "Okay," for the skit, you're like, "Hello, 911." Like, that's literally how it plays out. It's, as I said, this is just on the fly filmmaking. There's no way. There's no fucking way. Anyway, she calls a detective. The detective answers, and he's listening to her, and she's like, "Yes, I would like to report an assassination attempt." Okay, who would ever say that? Who would ever fucking say that? You would say, "I would like to report an attempted murder. I would like to, report that someone tried to kill me." An assassination attempt? What is she, the fucking president? That is so funny, number one. Then number two, he starts kind of pushing back. He's like saying something, and she was like, "Are you trying to flirt with me?" And he's like, "No, ma'am, I'm just trying to make conversation." "Okay, so you said someone tried to assassinate you?" Imagine calling the police and being like, "Someone tried to kill me." And then they just started talking about some shit. And then they were like, Are you trying to fucking like talk about something?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just trying to make conversation." Imagine that happening. Imagine the 911 operator or a detective being like, "So, what were you saying again? Someone was trying to kill you?" "Sorry, I was just trying to make conversation." What the fuck, actually? And then she like tries to make the report, and he's like, "Yeah, okay." And she's like, "Yeah, this kid tried to kill me. No evidence, no suggestion that anything she's saying is insane." She's just like, "Look, I just woke up from a coma. This kid attacked me." And the guy's like, "Yeah, bullshit. No way." And then she's like, "No, for real. I live on XX whatever, Elm Street. And he's like, Elm Street? Ha! Was Freddy trying to kill you too? Ha! And then he gets off the phone with her, and then she's like, yeah, I guess my story does sound a little ridiculous. And then she gets up out of the bed, and then he goes to some other, either detective or his lieutenant. I think it's supposed to be his lieutenant. And he's like, some girl just called in. What did he say? Oh, I don't think that this is it. But she just thinks it's funny. But then later, she comes to him, and she's like, we got a call from that address. And he's like, oh shit, she was telling the truth? And she's like, yeah, what are the odds? There's no way that a cop fucking ignores a police report, believing it to be bogus. His lieutenant comes to him and is like, you fucked up. This is actually true, but she doesn't say it in that way. She doesn't frame it in that way. Maybe she's just another detective, but I don't think so. I think she's supposed to be his boss. And she just comes to him and is like, hey, we just got a call, said that some kid went nuts and tried to kill his family at this address. And he's like, oh shit, she was telling the truth. And she's like, yeah, what are the odds? What are the odds? The odds are pretty high since you didn't investigate it at all. You didn't take the call seriously at all. There was an attempted murder on my life, and he's like, no, bullshit. And she's like, yeah, it's on Elm Street. And he's like, Elm Street? Ha, Freddy there too? Absolute insanity. Absolute fucking insanity. There's no way a human being wrote this script. There's no fucking way. I refuse to believe it. And then Dylan, he shoots a shotgun in the house, and once again, the mom, it's like the ending of the last movie, where the woman comes through the door, the mom comes through the door, and she's like, what was that? Dylan's like, I was just playing video games. and then she comes around the corner, like, I don't know, 30 seconds later, after hearing a shotgun. For some reason, this guy has a fucking shotgun mounted on his wall, loaded, and it's not locked up. It's just sitting on there, totally at height level of a child to grab. And he just grabs it and starts blasting. And he shoots this chick, and then, like, I don't know, 30 seconds later, the mom comes around the corner, just very casually, and she was like, what was that noise? If you have never been around a gun, if you've never went to a gun range, if you've never fired a weapon or been around a weapon, maybe that's what's happening here. But guys, there's a reason a gunshot is so loud. It's because the bullet breaks the sound barrier, right? It literally creates a sonic boom. It is so unbelievably loud, you can't fucking believe it. There's a reason you wear ear protection. It sounds like a bomb goes off. It's crazy how loud guns are, especially a shotgun. A shotgun is so fucking loud. I have fired a shotgun quite a few times, and let me tell you, it is so loud. And I fired a gun once without ear protection. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but I fired a gun, and I instantly, I pulled the trigger, and I just heard beep. Like, it was like beep. Like, instantaneous tinnitus. Could not fucking hear absolutely anything. My ears were stuffed. You know how you come out of a fucking rock show and you haven't worn ear protection and you can't hear literally anything and it's all muffled? Yeah, that's what it sounded like for me for like 6 straight hours. It was awful. And the fact that this gun goes off in this house. And then there's also a scene where somehow he sneaks around the back of the dad as he's like tending to the mom who's been shot. And he's just like, where'd he go? And then he turns around and Dylan's just standing there. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. It is literally a wide open area. The guy would be on high alert, and there's absolutely no way, if you look at the layout, that the kid could have somehow, like, snuck past him to get behind him. it literally would just be like an open room like this, where Dylan would just be walking past me, and for some reason, I'm not on guard, even though this kid just shot at me multiple times. There's absolutely no way. One funny thing is, though, and I will give the movie credit for this, because this is accurate, every single time Dylan fires this gun, it throws him across the room. It's really funny. He pulls the trigger and it like throws him back, and then he gets up and he cocks it and he throws him back again. Every time he pulls the trigger, he is launched, and it is really funny, but genuinely, like, for real, like, that would definitely happen. And then, yeah, I mean, he somehow, like, the cops come in, and Dylan just escapes right out the back, and he just goes to some other people's door, and he's like, my mom and dad were in an accident. Can you help me? Can you take me in? And then they're like, oh, buddy, come on in. We'll take care of you. And he just smiles at the camera. What world is this where they're like, okay, yes, okay, fine. We don't know what happens from there, but I think we're supposed to assume that they just took him in. Like, if a kid shows up to your house and is like, my parents just died, can you take me? And they're like, sure, kid, come on in. It takes a village. Like, that's basically the way that this fucking scene seems. It's like, oh, okay, we'll just take you in. There'll be no questions. We'll be able to enroll you in school. We'll be able to just take you in. No problem. No problem. We're not even gonna call the cops. Like, where's your family? They're what? Out on the road right out front in a car? Like, dead, bleeding out? Like, what just happened? Maybe we should call the cops. Maybe we should go investigate. No, we'll just take care of you. Just come on in. We got supper ready for you. The stupidity and unbelievability of this film, but coupled with like the sincere nature of the film, is what makes it absolutely hilarious. So I don't know if I should be offended or thankful for this recommendation, but there you go. The worst movie I've seen this year, but also one of the funniest. And alongside, now I've watched almost 3 hours. Actually, altogether, it would be a 3-hour experience, plus the commercials on Tubi. So more than 3 hours dedicated to this shit. I can't take that back. I just wasted those 3 hours. But, man, did I have a good time. So, were they wasted? Man, we have found a new auteur, let me tell you. This director, he is A+ at being bad. This is the new Ed Wood of Tubi. So he has a ton of Tubi movies, a ton of them. So I am curious. I'm not gonna watch them, but I will tell you, if they make an Adopted 3, you bet your ass we will be getting a review, and I will be genuinely surprised if we don't get a third. So bring it on. Dylan's Revenge. Let's see it. I'm here for it. Sorry I didn't laugh as much this time. I know that was really funny, but I was genuinely like manic last night. But this one was just as bad. So if you for some reason checked out the first one and you're wondering, is this one worth your time? If you found the first one funny, you're probably going to find this one funny. Tons of things I didn't mention in the first movie that I also thought was really funny. I was thinking about other things that I didn't mention, but, I'll let you experience those things if you watch it. Let me know what your favorite things were in this if you do watch these. And, yeah, I'll see you in the comments. Adios.